Good evening, friends, and welcome back to our channel. This is Homestead Chats, where we talk to other homesteaders and see why they do what they do. Today, we are with Leah from Southern Biophilliac Urban Farm. For the longest time, I thought it was Bibliophiliac. I was like, wow, she really likes books like I do. But straight now, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Um, I started homesteading back in 2018 when we just started with gardening. I've been an avid gardener since I was a kid and always raised animals since I was a kid and had a dream since I was little of having a farm. Um, we got our permanent place back in 2018 and I started converting our lawn space basically into food forest. So it's always still in progress. We're always making changes and things like that. And then back in 21, I decided I wanted to try to raise meat. I wanted to be self sufficient on meat. And then we stumbled upon quail and backyard rabbits.
Nice. Now I know you specialize in quail. That's how most of us know you is quail raiser. But what is let's call it your other specialty. Like what's the other thing that you're passionate about?
Oh, definitely the garden. The
The
garden's always
garden.
been like the number one thing. Yeah, I'm super
Yeah.
nerdy when it comes to plants.
I, I am too, but I'm more of a let's put it in the ground and see if it survives type gardener. I don't Some people they really worry about let's trim the tomatoes. That's Aaron. He's a let's trim the tomatoes person. I'm like, we're just gonna let it go and see what happens.
Yeah. I like to kind of experiment that way and see what grows well because I want my garden to like do its own work. I don't want to have to work hard to get food.
Right, right. That
So,
makes sense too.
yeah.
Now, you said you've kind of always been a gardener. How'd you get into homesteading in general? Like, is that something you were like, oh, this is definitely a thing I want to do? We've always kind of done it, so it's just like a natural course of events for us. But
Well, I'd always wanted to do it. It just felt like I couldn't until we had a permanent place. But I always wanted to be dependent. I mean, independent of, having to outsource my food or my health products or anything like that. Um, I'm also a nurse too, and I'm not farming. So I've always been really big into like the health of our food and our food system and the fact that food is medicine.
mhm.
So that's a big part of what drives me too. I think that we're very disconnected from where our food actually comes from and how healthy what you actually are getting at the grocery store.
Right, right. I agree with that. I think a lot of people don't realize um, where where they're getting their meat from. A lot of people look at a chicken and be like, "Oh, it's so cute. How can you eat it?" But if you're buying chicken from the store, it's the same thing. But at least the chicken that you raised yourself, you know where it came from, you know how it was raised,
Yeah,
it was taken care of. It had the one bad day, and that's it. You know,
right, exactly.
yeah.
That's
And I
that's
think,
definitely how we prefer it here too. Like I know from start to finish everything that went into that bird.
yeah, exactly. Did you plan to want to grow meat yourself, or was that something that came along later?
It came along later. It was very intimidating to me at first. Like living here in Florida, we fish all the time, and I was okay with like preparing fish and things like that. But I'd never prepared any other type of animal, so I got the quail because it didn't feel as intimidating, and I thought
That
it would
makes
be very
sense.
simple to get started with before we moved on to anything else.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I can do this. They're a small bird, like, and if I can't do this, then there's definitely no way I'm moving on to something bigger.
Right.
But yeah, the first time I ever dressed a bird was very nerve wracking, but now it's just very natural.
It's yeah, and then probably it's something that happens quickly, and and now you even teach classes on that, correct?
Yes, yes, we do. We usually host about 3 classes a year, two in the spring, one in the fall.
Nice, nice. Do you
Yeah.
have a lot of first timers that are very nervous about it, and
Yes, and we try to make it a lot of fun. I mean, even though like the subject itself, the beginning of it isn't necessarily fun, we do try to make it fun and try to get the nerves out of the way in the very
right.
beginning. Um, and we talk about that for quite a while before we actually get into the nitty gritty of it.
So normally the next question would be, "What's your current concentration?" But we know it's quail. Like we know that's the
Yeah,
thing.
and I never expected it to be quail. Honestly, like I thought I was just gonna have a little group of birds and we'd just be raising for personal meat and eggs. And
And then it's
I was really
surprise.
surprised at how quickly it grew.
Yeah, and now you have a couple thousand birds, and you're like, "Oh,
Yes, a lot of
this,
birds.
this is not what I expected." But
No, I sit there and I think back and I laugh because I'm like, this wasn't supposed to happen like this.
so, what's your second favorite poultry that you raise? Since I can't actually concentration, what's your second favorite poultry? Because you raise a lot of different birds.
Yeah, so my second favorite is probably my bantam cochins.
Those
Um,
are cute. Those are
yeah,
cute.
just I love the little floofy little floofs. They're just funny, and their personalities are crazy for this little 2 pound bird.
Right.
And yeah, I think they're cute. They make me
Yeah,
laugh.
I can agree with that. We have large fowl kosher right now.
Yeah,
They're,
that's so cool.
they're beautiful. The fluff on the butt is just they're just ginormous, but I love them. I don't think you can go wrong with a kosher, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. They add
And
so much
we
personality.
they do. They really do. What's your favorite part about what you do? Is it the education? Is it the birds? Is it the garden? Like, what's your favorite part in general?
Honestly, it's kind of hard to pick a favorite part because I love different aspects of all of it. I do really enjoy educating people though and helping
Mhm.
people get started, whether it's in gardening or quail or whatever venture they're trying to get into, because I really love to see people succeed.
Yeah.
'Cause starting anything new is intimidating, and if I can help just give someone enough guidance to get started,
Hmm.
I think it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's how we accidentally got into being a business, I guess you could say, is
Yeah,
a lot of education. That was mainly what we did because we were like you, we didn't really have a permanent place to be able to expand. So once we did,
right.
the opportunity came along, but we spent a lot of time on education before that. And I'm going to say, like you, I think it is rewarding when you see somebody who was not doing it and now they're just gung ho all in. They're like, oh, okay, we
Yes,
got
I love
it.
watching people. It's awesome.
Yeah, sometimes I tell them we bad influences, but it's not a bad influence. It's just
Right?
you didn't
It's
know how much you were going
empowerment.
to like it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have 50 quail now. I don't know
Right.
what to If you were starting all over again, is there anything that you would do differently?
I probably would have gotten quail sooner.
Really?
Because it took me a long time. I researched and researched and researched, and it took me a long time to bite the bullet and get them,
Hmm.
just because I was nervous about it. But I
Really?
would have gotten them sooner.
We did that with bees. We researched for years
Yeah,
before we got bees. And once we had them, we're like, oh, wait, this is a lot easier than we thought. There's a
yeah,
lot to learn, but it's not terrible. So
right.
I definitely understand where you're coming from with that one.
Yeah, I'm trying
We,
to not be so intimidated with new things and just kind of trying to jump in and seeing
yeah,
if it works for us.
yeah, we do a lot of jumping in now too. Now that we kind of same thing. We saw the bees weren't so scary. We're like, oh, if we can do that, we can do this too.
Right.
That was, except pressure canning. I'm not. No.
I haven't ventured into that either. So,
I bought the electric pressure canner because I can can all day long with a water bath canner, but that was stuff I wanted to pressure can. But I'm still too scared of like a normal pressure canner. I own one. I have one, but
I've
I
got one
refuse
too
to
myself,
use.
but I haven't used it.
Yep, it's been sitting there. So if we ever get to poop hits the fan situation, I guess I'll have to learn how to use it. Until then, I'll use the electric one. So, if you had advice for someone that was just getting started in, let's just generally say homesteading, what would it be?
Um, to reach out to someone, especially someone local to you, or other farms that are doing what you're hoping to do, and start educating yourself. Um, I usually say, so, at least have one local mentor, just because they know your climate and how, anything that you might run into due to your climate. But yeah, just start reaching out, finding other farms doing what you're wanting to do, and start learning.
I don't think you can ever have too many friends or connections in
Definitely.
this. I don't think there's ever, and there's always something different to be learned. And I think what you said is important about finding someone that is local to you, because I don't think people realize how much of a difference climate makes in what you're doing.
Yeah, it's huge. Absolutely huge.
Like especially if you, I see it all the time, especially if you're a new gardener. Um, we live in Louisiana. We are having crazy cold right now, but normally, if you're not planting peas in, say December,
Right.
you're not going to have peas. If you try to plant peas when the rest of the country plants peas, you're not going to have them because it's going to be too hot. And a lot of
Exactly.
people don't know that when they're starting out. But if you reach out, like you said, someone local that knows what's going on, you'll find that, oh, listen, I have to do this at this time. Because I think a lot of people get disappointed.
Yeah, I think so too. And one of the things like that really irritates me is like I think some of the southern states kind of get forgotten on the gardening calendars, because like
Yes.
when we plant things is not when they're shipping them down to us.
Exactly.
So like for instance, potatoes and onions, they're on the store shelves now to be planted, but we plant those back in like end of October, early November.
Right.
If you get them
Right.
in right now, they're going to wilt and they're going to die.
Mm-hmm. And that's like they ship seeds down here, and you're gonna find all your cold weather vegetables. You cannot grow broccoli right now. Like it's gonna be too hot before your broccoli gets big, and people get frustrated. Like, what did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong, you
Right.
know. So I definitely understand what you're saying on that one. It's a whole learning curve for wherever you live at.
Definitely.
So I'm gonna go ahead and screen share if I can remember how to do it. Ah, sometimes I'm not very technically inclined, but it's okay.
Oh, I have those moments every single day.
All right, let me make sure. There you are. So here's your website, and it kind of tells us everything you do, or do you just have your birds on here?
I'm still working on it. It's in progress. Like you just said with technology, I'm not my favorite friend. So we've been doing kind of an overhaul on our site. It's mostly our birds right now, but we are working on getting some of our gardening products up, our rabbits, and
That's-
also the meat and eggs that we offer too.
and you have several different types of birds: pheasants, snowflake bobwhites. I love snowflakes. They are
Yeah, me
just the
too.
prettiest. They are the
I was
prettiest.
really nervous about getting them because everyone told me they're just nasty and they fight and they're aggressive, but they've been wonderful.
Yeah, we don't have any problems with our snowflakes. Yeah, we did same thing. Our regular bobwhites that we raised years ago, I agree that I thought they were not the kindest birds. But let me go ahead and
And I heard the same about the pheasants too, so we kind of dove in. I was like, I'm just going to try them out for myself and
yeah,
see
and
how this
see.
goes. And
And
they've been a little rowdy, being that it's getting into spring, but otherwise they've been really, really good birds. I really can't complain.
we had ringnecks, and we ended up selling them because we were having the hardest time like adding a female. Anytime we tried to add any females, something would happen to them. We're like, you know what, we're not gonna do it. But we do want to try pheasants again, obviously.
Definitely.
All
They
right,
just have
let's.
really nice temperaments, so it's
Well,
nice.
that's what I'm hoping that since they're different than a ringneck. So here
Right.
we find you on Facebook. Now, let's share this real quick. Two Chicks Coturnix, you are the co-host of Two Chicks Coturnix.
Yes.
And y'all have a live tonight, correct?
Yes, we do with Jeff Maddox going over poultry nutrition. It's going to be a Stump Jeff episode. So
Nice.
all
Y'all
the
had
questions would be great.
y'all had him on an episode a while back. Is this the same guy?
Yeah, same guy. Yep.
I loved him.
He's
I
hilarious.
loved him. I loved his answers. I was like, he is a straight shooter. You can't
Right.
go wrong. I really did enjoy that episode of him. So if somebody doesn't follow you yet, they can go find you on Facebook.
Yes.
And Two Chicks Coturnix is also on Facebook and on
Yes.
YouTube. And if somebody wants to order from you, they can order straight from your site. And I
Yep.
did see that you posted this morning that you do have a wait list going on, which I think is a
Yeah.
most breeders most breeders
I
are at
think
this
that's
point this
great.
year.
I think it's
Yeah,
everybody right now. Yeah.
yeah. So great. I think that's it. Is there anything else you would like to mention or anything that we forgot?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all. And thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. I know last week you got busy. I know it's so hard right now to schedule something. Just
Yeah. Stuff is
work
always
and
popping up.
busy. Yeah, always, always. Well, I appreciate you being here. I will include all your links at the bottom of the video. That way, if anybody wants to go find you, they can.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. You have a good one, my dear.
You too.
Bye bye.
Bye.